Hello everyone, and welcome to another Thursday morning live in Adelaide, South Australia. I'd love for you to come say hi when you're watching, whether watching the live or replay, and kind of what brings you to the live and maybe what you want to see more of, because I'd love to support you in any way that I can. And that's why also, whether you're watching the live or replay, I would also love for you to just say hi, so I know that you've been here, I know that something you're interested in, just so I can connect with you, whether you're watching the live or replay. Hi Susie, thanks for watching. So we've had a few new members in the Facebook community. So for anyone that's new here, my name is Zoe Jean. I am an NLP practitioner, anxiety and mindset coach, and I help women to heal their anxiety from all over the world using the Rewrite Your Anxiety method, which focuses on mindset work, body connection, nervous system regulation and habits, because working on all four of those is crucial on your healing journey. Because I feel if you don't have one or the other, it's kind of just a recipe for disaster. Basically, it's not going to work long term if you don't, release your trauma, release your past conditioning and everything from your body and your mind, as opposed to just from your mind, just from your body. Or sometimes, essentially, if you just work with like a therapist or something like that, sometimes it's just kind of talk therapy. It's kind of just conscious mind talking about your problems, and it can actually make that trauma worse. So I think it's really important that if you want to heal your anxiety in a long-term sustainable way, that you really focus on releasing that trauma from your body and your mind. So you work on your body, your mind, your nervous system, and habits as well, right? Because everything we do is based off of habits. So it's really important to work out what our habits are and which ones are serving us or which ones aren't serving us. And the ones that aren't serving us, the only reason we're doing them is because they are still giving us something. So it's about recognizing what those negative habits are giving us and how we can get that same benefit in a new positive habit. Hi Mary, thanks for watching. And today's live is about building success, and I'm gonna break this down into two parts. So I'd love for everyone to even just tell me what success means to you. If you could define success, what would it mean to you? As you know, success can mean a lot of things, and it's also different for a lot of people. But ultimately, success is being able to achieve whatever you want to achieve your dreams, to achieve what sets your soul and life on fire, what gives you meaning, what gives you purpose, what makes you feel happy and whole. Success isn't about having to be like a millionaire or having to, have a lot of money or having to have a certain quote unquote good job. That's not what it's about. It's about whatever sets you soul on fire, whatever gives you purpose, and whatever gives you what you need to live that happy, fulfilling life that you feel called to live. Because we all have different callings. We all have different things that we want to do. So it's about listening to what we need, what our certain body needs, not what success means to someone else. It's what we need. And have you ever wondered, why some people achieve their version of success and why some people don't? Why some people stay stuck for their whole lives or stay stuck for many, many years. Like maybe some people don't start achieving their success until maybe they're in their late 40s or 50s or anything like that, and why some people start young. So I'm going to share with you what could be stopping you and what could be holding you back from creating success, and to be able to help change your awareness, right? Because a lot of times we stay stuck because we're not actually aware of where we currently are, what's holding us back, and how to actually get to where we want to go. And sometimes we don't even know what it is we want to do, right? How can we have purpose and create success in our own way if we don't even know what that is? Because we haven't, allowed ourselves to actually think about that and work out what that is. So number one is, having no idea of where you currently are in life. Because in order to change, you need to actually know where you already are. You can't get to a destination without knowing where you are. It's like driving a car. You can't drive from A to B and say use Google Maps to get you from A to B if you don't even know where you currently are. How's it going to drive you where you want to go if you don't even know where you are? So it's the same sort of, concept. And number 2 is comparing yourself to others. Like, how normal is it that we all compare ourselves to everyone else and, you know, where they are by a certain age, or society's expectations of, you know, where you should be by a certain age. But when you spend, you know, so much time focusing on what you don't have and what others have and comparing yourself to that, you're wasting so much time and energy focusing on that and focusing on the negatives that it doesn't actually give you the space and the time and the energy to focus on what matters and actually creating your version of success. I'd love for you to comment comparing below if it resonates with you, if you've been stuck in that, you know, mentality of, you know, constantly being comparing yourself to other people, you know, whether it's people you work with, whether that's your friends or your family, just whoever you're comparing yourself to. And don't feel bad if you do, because it's so common. Like, a lot of us do. Even I can sometimes compare myself to someone else. Like, I'm in business now, right? So sometimes I compare to myself to how well other people are doing in business, but they're completely different to me, right? We're all on our own journey. So it's okay if that comes up occasionally, but it's about having that awareness to stop it and bring you back into the present and what's going well in your life and what's working, and celebrate that and work on that, and knowing it's always about getting better and better and better. No point thinking, oh, I'm not good enough, or I'm just going to stop now because I'm not where I want to be. It's because it's always about getting further and further up, because everyone in life, even the most successful people, still have down moments, still have to rise to that next level. So it's really important to focus on that rather than focusing on what's not working and where you're not where you want to be, right? Because, for example, you know, I'm still single at the moment, and a lot of people that, you know, are nearly 28, you know, quite often have kids and married. So I could be comparing myself to other people and saying to myself, oh, something's wrong with me because I'm still single, I'm not married, I don't have kids, rah, rah, rah. But no, I'm not. Instead, I've been enjoying that time being single. I've been enjoying my own company. I'm enjoying my freedom, knowing that it's all happening in good reason. And also, I'm actually quite close to someone at the moment. So I think that that's very much so about to be turning into a relationship. And literally they're giving me everything that I personally wanted. Like, the last person that I saw, it didn't go too well. There was a lot of things that I wasn't getting. And then this new person is giving me all of those things. It's like I basically manifested it. And that's why I also love the power of manifestation. Just reading your comment, Mary. Yeah, definitely. We quite often compare our siblings and others in, you know, career and that, and being either older or younger, for sure. And definitely I would always compare myself to my sister, because she's definitely one of my biggest inspirations. Like, I've always, you know, looked up to her, and she's the one that actually got me into seeing my first life coach, because she, you know, knew that what I was doing, you know, seeing counselors and therapists and stuff, she knew that wasn't working, and that I needed something more. And she even said something quite harsh to me, but I'm glad she did, because it gave me the kick up the bum that I needed to actually do the work. She said that you're just so negative that I just can't be around you anymore. And, you know, that just hit home for me that, you know, I need to do something. So it's good. It's not good that we compare, but it's good if we can change that comparing as to instead to have someone to look up to and be around them if, you know, they're doing well, and we can look up to them, and if they help us strive to do our best, but do our best in our own way, if that makes sense, right? Because we all have our different bests, and what works for one person doesn't work for everyone. Especially with your siblings, right? Your siblings, you probably don't have the same, you know, version of success as them. You don't have the same interests as them. So it's going to be totally different. But say if it was in a career-wise, then like in a certain career path and you were in a career together, then you would have the same sort of version of success most likely. So instead of comparing yourself, why not see how you can work together with that person and help bring each other up and support one another, rather than comparing one another. And we're so much stronger as women, as a collective, if we work together rather than against one another. And then, you know, number 3 was perfectionism. So, you know, quite often we can get stuck into those the mentality of, you know, everything has to be perfect, and it's this way, or it's nothing at all, or I won't bother putting myself out there, or applying for a job, or doing a certain project unless I get it perfect first. But think about all the time that you waste waiting for it to be perfect, and perfect will probably never come, because in my opinion, perfect doesn't exist, right? So I just feel like it's not a good mindset to live in if you're constantly striving for something to be perfect, because you'll probably find that, even in your eyes or in anyone's eyes, perfect never comes. It's always just about growing and learning and taking messy action and doing it anyway, knowing that you grow and learn and improve as you go. And, you know, a lot of like feeling the need for stuff to be perfect, a lot of that comes from our childhood conditioning. So if we had a parent that was really, you know, hard on us and had to be perfect and liked to have everything spotless and in a certain order, and told us that we need to do a certain job or whatever, that can also bring on that perfectionism mentality. So that's also where kind of the awareness helps, to be aware that maybe you have that perfectionism mentality. Maybe it's something that you want to work on. If it seems to be controlling your life and stopping you from getting to your level, your version of success, because you're constantly putting things off, waiting for them to be perfect when perfect's not coming. And, you know, it could also be step 4 is, you know, just being around negative people. So if you surround yourself with negative people, then that's going to bring you more negativity, and it's going to make it harder to reach your goals. And I don't know how many of you guys realize, but our subconscious mind literally listens to everything. It listens to everything. So if you surround yourself by negative people, you're going to start to pick up on all their negativity, and you're going to start repeating those exact same words. You know, it's happened to me multiple times where a song's on the radio, I don't remember hearing it on the radio, next minute it's in my head. So it's like it must have played on the radio, right? Because our subconscious mind's listening. I used to work with this lady, and she would say all these silly catchphrases, and despite, you know, me not liking the catchphrases, they would always get stuck in my head. So again, the subconscious mind's always listening. So surround yourself with positive people, uplifting people, people that can help get you to where you want to be, but do it in a positive way and in a way that's inspiring you, not in a way that you're comparing yourself to them and you have to be just like them. So it's really important to do it, but do it in the right mindset. Do your best to get out of that comparing yourself mentality. And even just question yourself when the comparing when it comes up that you start comparing yourself. It's really such question yourself. Do I need to compare myself to this person? Why am I comparing myself to this person? What are the good qualities that I have? What are the strengths that I have? How can I use how well this person's doing to my advantage to help me grow and learn? And then, you know, number 5 is blame. Are you constantly blaming yourself, you know, when things don't go to plan, or you're blaming other people? Are you always focusing on what's, you know, not working? Because if you're constantly focusing on what's not working and blaming yourself or blaming other people for where you currently are in life, that's also going to stop you from getting to your level version of success. And it's crazy because a lot of these things we're doing, but we're not even aware that we're doing it, because we're just doing it. We're just running off of autopilot. So even to start to, you know, be aware, you know, maybe write down these steps, come back and watch the replay after, write down these steps and just start to take notice in your daily life, like which steps are these that are currently holding you back. And then, you know, number 6 is self-doubt. So what do you believe about yourself? What do you hold? What are your feelings about yourself? What are your doubts about yourself? Because if you've got a lot of self-doubt, that can also be holding you back as well. Obviously, you know, a little bit of self-doubt can be, you know, common, and it can be a little bit of it can be normal, but we don't want a large amount of self-doubt, because that's definitely going to, you know, get on top of us, hold us back, prevent us from taking action and going after things if we're constantly doubting ourselves. And again, our subconscious mind listens to everything that we think and say. So if we've got that really big self-doubt belief of ourselves and doubt ourselves with everything, it's going to make it, again, hard to get to that level, that version of success. And, you know, fear, right? Fear kills more dreams. Fear kills more dreams than anything else in the world, right? And a little bit of fear, just like everything, is normal. But a lot of us have a ginormous amount of fear. We have the same amount of fear that they had back in the caveman days, when obviously they needed a lot of fear back then, because they could basically get eaten by a lion or tiger at any stage. We have that same amount of fear nowadays, but we don't need to have that same amount of fear. So really start to strip back the layers of fear that you have and what's underneath that fear. What are you really fearful about? How can you look at that fear differently? How can you feel the fear and do it anyway? How can you be friends with the fear? I love it. I love that saying, how can you be friends with the fear, right? Because the fear is there to try and protect you. So even to start looking at it differently, and that can also really help as well. And feel the fear and do it anyway, right? Because it's quite common that a lot of new things do feel a little bit fearful because they're unknown to us, and our brain likes predictability, it likes what's comfortable. So anything outside of that is going to feel a little bit fearful. Sometimes you just have to take that first step, and then as soon as you take that first step, the fear's gone, right? Because it's no longer uncomfortable and new because you've just stepped out and did it anyway. And then number 8 is distraction, right? A lot of us also don't create, the life we want and our version of success because we easily get distracted by certain things, whether that's TV, whether that's Facebook, Instagram, just, scrolling, whether that's going out with friends a lot. Like we always quite often find something to distract ourselves, and sometimes we also self-sabotage ourselves as well, and that quite often distracts us and stops us from doing the things that are important. And what quite often causes us to self-sabotage ourselves is if our subconscious mind's beliefs don't align with what we're trying to create. So if you're trying to create success, say you wanted to be like a manager of a doctor's clinic or something, but you had the subconscious mind belief that you weren't good enough, that you weren't smart enough. Your subconscious mind, if that believed that you weren't good enough and you weren't smart enough, it would always sabotage you on the way to getting that job as a manager. So maybe you'd go to interviews and you'd stuff up, or you'd say the wrong thing, or you'd be late or something. Like it would find a way to self-sabotage you because your subconscious mind's not aligning with your idea of success. If your idea of success was being a manager, if that makes sense. So a subconscious mind likes to distract us, and it likes to self-sabotage us when it comes to success if it doesn't align with if what we want doesn't align with our subconscious beliefs. That's why it's so important to work with your unconscious mind and your conscious mind, right? Because if you just work with your conscious mind, you're going to always be starting things, but it's never going to last. You're always going to end up being self-sabotage. You're always going to give up because it's not aligning with subconscious mind beliefs. And then, number 9 is playing small. So a lot of us play small because we're scared of, what other people will think. We're scared it will go wrong. We're scared that it will change our identity. And that's scary, right? Because again, that's unknown. So we think, I'll just play small, where it's safe, where it's comfortable, where I'm known, where I'm liked. And I have a great example about this, right? Like I've always looked up to my sister, as I said, but I was also so nervous about what she thought. So like way before I decided to be a coach, I was thinking about it for so long. And I set my goal of when I wanted to start by. I did start earlier, but I hadn't told anyone, right? So when I first told my sister, because again, I didn't tell anyone because I was playing small, she's like, she just thought that, like the coach that I saw, she thought that she must have talked me into it. And I was thinking, why the hell would she talk me into it? And if she talked me into it, why would I do it unless I wanted to do it? And then it kind of clicked. It's like, well, she probably just assumed that because I had never spoken about it before. So she didn't know how passionate about it I was, because I just would never speak about it because I was too nervous. So that's just kind of one example of what playing small can mean. It can mean that you just don't tell anyone about what you actually want to do. So therefore, if you're too scared to tell anyone, then you're just not going to do it, right? Because you're too scared to tell anyone. And if you do it, they're most likely going to find out. Especially, if it's starting a business and being online regularly, it's kind of hard for my sister not to find out, right? So I kind of had to either tell her and step out of playing small, or just continue to play small and just not do it, because obviously she would have found out, right? So playing it small can seem comfortable and familiar and easy, but it's so detrimental when it comes to creating our version of success. And then, you know, number 10 is, you know, logic. So obviously we want a little bit of logic, but sometimes we can have too much logic that it prevents us from, you know, creating our success, because, you know, obviously there's logic to everything, but there's also so many different ways to do lots of things. Like, it's not black or white. Like, there's so many different ways. Like, even with, you know, working in a doctor's clinic, I worked in a doctor's clinic, and when I first started, like, when I first started, it was hard because everyone would kind of do something differently, and then it was hard for me to know what was the right way to do, and it was hard for me to learn because it felt like everyone was doing something different. And I'm like, how is everyone doing something different? Because back then, you know, when I was chronically anxious, I had that belief that it had to be, that there was had to be a set way. You know, there was no black or white. Like, everything had to be done a set way, and if it wasn't done a set way, that it was done wrong, right? So then that also that showed me that, hey, there actually is no right or wrong. Like, there's just so many ways to do a lot of things. So if we get stuck in, you know, too much logic, then that also prevents us from getting to where we want to go, essentially, because we're stuck that it has to be done a set way. We're stuck in that logic. So even to start to question yourself, right? Are you open to things being done lots of different ways, or are you stuck in the belief that it has to be done a certain way, and if it's not done that certain way, then it's not good enough, and that you have to keep going and trying until you get it the right way, and then, you know, maybe you eventually give up. So I'd love for you to let me know in the comments which one of those 10 steps resonates with you the most. And as mentioned, feel free to go back and replay it to kind of write them down if you want, because it's going to be so powerful if you can at least start with the awareness of, you know, writing down these steps and kind of taking notice in your everyday life which one of these steps maybe resonates with you and is possibly holding you back from creating your version of success. And maybe if you don't know what your version of success is, maybe take a look at working out what that is as well. And of course, if you'd like some support with that, feel free to kind of reach out. I also might pop a link in the description box if anyone wants to kind of book a free call to kind of learn a little bit more about themselves, you know, get clear on, you know, exactly where they are, where they want to be. And then when we know where you are and where you want to be, I'll help you to see what the gap is between the two and what changes need to be created to help you get from A to B, so you can actually create your dream life. You can create your own version of success, and you can no longer have these steps, whether all of them or whether a couple of them, holding you back anymore. Because, you know, like, I felt like I wasted 14 years of my life, and that was long enough. And some people say, you know, oh my God, you're so lucky that you found your passion now, that you're doing this young, rah, rah, rah. But, like, I still felt like I wasted 14 years, and it breaks my heart that so many people think that, you know, I'm lucky in a sense because I'm starting, you know, quite young. But this is possible for anyone, but it's only possible if you allow it to be possible. So if you want to get out of your own way, then I really invite you to book a free call with the link that I'll put in the comments, and we can see how we can work together. At the very least, rewatch this video, write down the steps, and just take note in your everyday life what one of these is holding you back from success. And get clear, just get clear on what your version of success is, and remember that everyone's is different, and that is okay. Because we are each our own unique individual, and that's perfect. We're meant to be different, we're meant to be unique. Because think about it, if we were all the same, life would be pretty boring, wouldn't it? So just embrace who you are, who you are meant to be, and what success is to you, and what will make you feel successful. So thank you all so much for joining. And if you have any questions as well, feel free to comment those below. And I will see you next time. Bye.